is the Louie Tee Network.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie Tee? Welcome to Lockdown Coverage Week number 16 in the National Football League. Los Angeles Rams hosting the San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to tell you a quick little interesting story. I had no idea who won this game until Sunday afternoon. I literally thought the Rams had won. The last time I saw the score, it was 21-7. Rams were up. We're talking 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I said, okay, the Rams are going to win. And it was funny. I had a conversation with my barber 2 days prior, Christmas Eve. And I told him, I said, you guys are going to get your fifth win of the season. Goff is going to get his first win of his career. And it's probably going to be your last win of the season. But, hey, take it and run with it. He said, hey, I'm looking forward to it. And there's another guy in the barbershop that's a huge 49ers fan. So my barber and the other barber, they always get into it. They always talk trash. They bet each other. And he said, man, the one thing they won't do is they won't get their second win of the season against us. They won't sweep us this year. That's what my barber said. And I said, man, you're right. They're not going to. You're good. You're going to win this one. And they were up 21-7. And I just assumed, and you know why they say don't assume. You know what that does. And so I just assumed, the Rams won. So I'm going about my business, and I said, damn, I wonder what that final score of that Rams game was. I wonder if they ever scored any more points. So I went back and I checked my little ESPN app, and I said, let's see what they won by. What was the final score? And lo and behold, the 49ers came back and won 22-21. I'm like, how in the hell did that happen? So I actually had incentive to watch this game, because I wanted to see how in the hell the Los Angeles Rams managed to blow a 14-point lead with 6 minutes left in the football game. I had to know. So I got a chance to watch, and man, that one hurt. If you're the Rams, the 49ers were so excited. And much like the Browns with their first win of the season, remember, the Niners haven't won since week 1. They had lost 13 straight games. Think about that for a second. I mean, that's a long time to not win a game. They were so excited on that sideline. I mean, guys were jumping up and down. Chip Kelly was elated. Okay? Look, I said the same thing during the Browns game. People talk about draft position, this, that, and the third. Look, it's about winning, man. Wherever I land in the draft, that's where the team lands, and you take a player when you get there, and whatever happens, happens. I want to win, damn it. Losing sucks, and losing is for losers. I let the losers worry about losing. That's what I always say. Let the losers worry about losing, man. I don't know anything about that. I let the losers worry about that. Losing sucks. So just to see the raw emotion from the 49ers on their bench and all the people that were excited, come on, man. There's no replacement for winning. Forget about draft picks and looking towards the future. I want to win now. And you saw that at the end of this season, man. I'm proud of the teams that found a way to win. Ones that had been struggling, like the 49ers, like the Browns. That shows that these teams didn't quit. Down 14 with 6 minutes left, and you're 1-13 and you haven't won a game in 13 weeks? Hell, 14 if you count the bye week? That's grounds for a team to quit late in the season. But they didn't. That says a little bit about Chip Kelly and where he has these guys' mindsets right now. That also says the kind of intestinal fortitude that they have in that San Francisco 49ers locker room. Because they could have quit. And arguably should have quit. Why not? You're 1-13. You haven't won since week 1 against this same team. You're on the road. It's December. It's Christmas Eve. Your mind could be elsewhere. Man, let's get these 6 minutes out the way so we can go home and spend Christmas with our families. That could have easily been the message. They didn't quit. We're going to talk about this game here in a second, but first, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Louie Tee Network for more great content in 2016 and beyond. We're changing the game over here. I want you to help us do that by simply hitting that red subscribe button on YouTube to become a member of the Louie Tee Network family. Also, I'm on Twitter at In The Lab Room is the Twitter handle. Go ahead, follow me on Twitter. I'm also on Facebook. In The Lab Room is the Facebook page. Go ahead and like it. All of my social media platforms right up in that center console, scrolling across the screen so you can't miss them. So no excuses. Like the Facebook page, follow me on Twitter, and most importantly, make sure you subscribe to the Louie Tee Network. That being said, let's start with the victors in this game. Haven't been able to say this since week 1. Start with the San Francisco 49ers. To the victors go the spoils. 49ers get it done 22-21, get their second victory of the season, and in probable fashion at that, coming from behind, going for 2 points, and getting it. Getting a big stop late with the turnover by Rashard Robinson to seal the deal after a boneheaded penalty that gave the Rams some great field position on the kickoff. They were able to get them off the field with that pick. It was a slow start to the game. 49ers did get on the scoreboard first, however, with a touchdown. Carlos Hyde, after a nice interception early in the game. Jared Goff struggled. We'll talk about him here in a second when we get to the Rams, but a great play by Tremaine Brock to pick off Jared Goff early in this ball game, set the 49ers up with some great field position, and good to see them take advantage of that field position. Kaepernick getting the football to Carlos Hyde out of the backfield on an option route, just a little arrow route out of the backfield, nice little pick, natural pick set by the tight end. Ogletree gets sucked in, caught in the wash, cuts over the middle, perfectly thrown football, runs into the end zone, 7-0 49ers. They would not score again until literally the end of the football game, as they would give up 21 unanswered points. But the defense hung in there, even though the offense gave them no signs of life. Defense hung in, and at the end of this football game, they got the play that they needed from Rashard Robinson to seal the deal, picking off Jared Goff for the second time in this football game. There's some stuff, I've said this a number of times, there's some stuff on this 49ers roster, most of it, if not all of it, on the defensive side of the football. This offense needs to be reworked, retooled, revamped. You call it what you want, rebuilt, all of it. I don't know what the status is of Colin Kaepernick moving forward. He's still missing some throws I think he should hit, especially on that final drive. Guys were open and he missed them, but he did make the play when he needed to make it to get the touchdown and to Streeter on the slant, and then the 2-point conversion. But there's still plays there that need to be made that he's not making. That being said, I still think he's the perfect quarterback for Chip Kelly's scheme. And if they get more talent on this football team, this could be a different outcome for this team. I'm not saying that they're going to be ready to compete in the NFC West or anything of the sort, but they'll be a much more competitive football team if they get more talent on that team. There's just not enough of it on the offensive side of the football. But that being said, I don't know what the future holds for Colin Kaepernick. I heard that he wants to opt out, which would be foolish to me because, again, where are you going to get that kind of money? And first of all, where are you going to even find a team that likes you enough to even give you a chance to compete to start in this league? There aren't many teams running the same type of offense that the 49ers are running. Chip Kelly isn't coaching in 17 different locations around the National Football League. Hell, there aren't even another 5 teams running the same type of offense. The Chiefs run it, they have a quarterback. The Bills run it, they have a quarterback. You're not going to find many more. The Eagles run it, they've got a quarterback for sure. Other than that, you're not going to find many more teams that run this read option style offense that's going to allow Colin Kaepernick to flourish like he's going to have an opportunity to do in San Francisco. So opting out to me is not a smart move. You're not going to make that kind of money, even if you were to get another deal somewhere else, making the kind of money you're going to make in San Francisco. And I don't know if the 49ers even want him back. So that's another question, because who knows if there's going to be a front office shakeup in San Francisco or not. We've heard rumors about Jed York potentially getting out of there, which would be the best thing that could happen to the 49ers in quite some time. We've heard about Trent Baalke potentially being out, which would be the best thing to happen to the 49ers in quite some time. We've heard a number of different rumblings and grumblings about the front office and the potential shakeup that could happen in San Francisco. But then again, you don't know what to believe. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what that's going to mean for the players on the field. The only thing that I think is going to remain the same is that Chip Kelly's going to be the head coach this time next season. But I can't say that for sure either. I mean, another one of these types of seasons, he could be gone during the midpoint of the season. Who's to say? But again, in any event, they found a way to win. It was an early Christmas gift for the 49ers. And they earned this one because, again, down 14 with 6 minutes left in a game where you haven't had any success since the first quarter after a turnover, they could have quit. Like I said, 13 straight losses will put you in a mindset right the day before Christmas, will put you in a mindset on the road that let's just get these 6 minutes over so I can go spend Christmas with my family. I'm still getting my check on Wednesday. I'm fine. So this was a really impressive performance by the 49ers late in this ball game to come back and steal, or as as I think Chris Myers or Tiki Barber put it, or excuse me, Rondé Barber put it, the 49ers were the Grinches that stole Christmas from the Los Angeles Rams, and they stole a victory, and that was impressive. Let's go to the Rams quickly. Let's talk about Jared Goff, because that's all I really want to talk about with this Rams football team, because if he's not worth it, then everything they've done over the last 2 years was in vain. Because you traded a bunch of draft picks. You've put basically this franchise's whole move to L.A. on the fact that Jared Goff was the right guy. Because if he's not good and you stink like this for the next 2 or 3 years, they're going to stop coming to the games. Trust me, L.A. is a fair weather market. When you're good, they'll be there. When you're not, they will quit on you. There are things to do in Los Angeles other than watch a bad football team play football. Trust me, they will go to the beach. They will go to the Lakers game. They will go to the Clippers game. They won't come to the Rams games. Trust and believe when I tell you, if you're bad, they will not come in LA. It was all fun, nice, and cute when you first came back and everybody was excited, so they were going to show up regardless. But trust me when I tell you that until you get that new stadium, that brand new shiny toy that Stan Kroenke has been talking and ranting and raving about, they're not showing up to Rams games if Jared Goff stinks, and his Rams team by default stinks. And right now I'm going to tell you, he was very bad in this football game. Really bad. Just easy throws he's missing late in the ball game. Easy throw on an out route, out cut. All you got to do is hit the receiver, let him run out of bounds. He's got to slide and dive. Still should have caught the football, but he didn't. But it was a poor throw, and it forced him to have to go down low, and he dropped it. And on the next play, it's a poorly run route and an even worse throw, and it was picked off by Rashard Robinson. I put a lot of that on the receiver, though. That was a horrible route, but it doesn't matter. The throw wasn't that much better, and Goff was just bad. The first interception, you got the receiver winning to the inside. You throw it behind him, and it gets picked off. I mean, these teams, you got to be better. And I thought Jared Goff was building on something. After watching what he did a couple of weeks ago, and I said, okay, there's a little bit of improvement here against Seattle. I thought he climbed the pocket well. It wasn't always accurate, but I said there's some things to work on here. There's some things to build on. This was disappointing. But again, he's young. We're still talking about a guy that was making, his sixth NFL start. I mean, there's still a lot of room for growth. And because you got a new coach now, and there's been so much dysfunction in Los Angeles since he's gotten there, a lot of finger pointing and name calling and this, that, and the third. He needs stability. He needs an offense that suits his strengths. And they need better protection up front. They need better running game. They need everything. And right now, they're much like the 49ers, there needs to be an offensive overhaul. The offensive line stinks. The receivers aren't much better. And the running game suffers because you got a running back in Todd Gurley, but he has no space. Right now, I think that because he expects to get hit as soon as he touches the football, his running back instincts aren't even kicking in anymore. There are opportunities for him to bounce some runs and get to the outside. And he's just putting his head down saying, let me just get my one. Let me just get my two. Because if I try to bounce it, someone's going to come out of nowhere and hit me, and I'm going to lose two. And there are opportunities for him to make some runs, some cuts, things that he was doing just off of pure running back instincts in his rookie season that he's no longer doing just because he didn't think it's possible behind this terrible offensive line. So there's just a lot of problems right now with the Rams, and Jared Goff, he's one of them. He's not good right now, but he's a rookie, and these are the growing pains you're going to go through with a guy that didn't play in a pro-style offense that I told you when the Rams drafted him, first of all, I didn't really like him, and second of all, I said it's going to take some time for him, more so than Carson Wentz, who did actually play in a pro-style type of offense at times at North Dakota State. That wasn't the case at Cal. It was strictly a read option offense. All right. It was strictly spread. They were out in the shotgun, out in the pistol, spread offense. And, a lot of run pass RPOs, run pass options at Cal. Nothing about that offense said pro style. And I knew it was going to take time for Goff, and he's still adjusting. He's not anywhere close to being the guy that they spent a couple of picks to get to move up in draft and be the guy. So it's going to take time. He was very, very unimpressive, and he did not play well, and they did not get it done. I can't believe they lost this game. I'm still kind of like stunned as to how they blow a 14-point lead with 6 minutes left. But when you're not a good football team, these are the types of things that you manage to do. Big win by the 49ers to get their second W of the season, 22-21 over the Los Angeles Rams. Let's get to a couple of your comments before we get out of here. Smoking RG3 hashtag smoking at 3 hashtag 1000 says, I wanted the Rams to beat the 49ers because I want the Browns to move up on the power ranks. You should be happy the 49ers won because it was a win-win for your Browns. They won a game, and they're still going to get the number one pick in the draft. It can't get much better than that. Damn the power rankings. You still want the number one pick. I know a lot of Browns fans say, well, I don't want to win because I want the number one pick. Now, you won, and you still have the number one pick. You can't. That was like the greatest Saturday ever for the Browns this season because not only did you win, you also got a 49ers win, which means, hey, how about that? We still have the number one pick, and we're not going to go winless. Can't get much better than that. Peyton Manning, hashtag Pay Breezy, hashtag Slim Peyton says, is Goff the bust? No. I can't stand that. He's a rookie. He hasn't even played a full season worth of games. How dare you use the B word with Jared Goff? No, he's not a bust. Don't do that. Peyton Manning, hashtag Pay Breezy, hashtag Slim Peyton says, what happened to Todd Gurley? Simple. There's no passing game. There's no one you respect in the passing game. There's no offensive line. And so there's nowhere for him to go. It's really simple. I mean, this game is a perfect example. There were times where he'd get the football, he'd look up, and there were two 49ers waiting on him. Literally dead to right. He had nowhere to go. Then there'd be other runs where he'd get to the line of scrimmage. You think, oh, there might be something here. And then that hole would close up so fast that he'd get a yard or two max. It's everything that he gets is hard. It's tough. Even a touchdown he scored didn't look like it was going to be a touchdown, and he had to keep his balance, stumbled, and get across the goal line. Everything he gets, it's hard-earned this season because they're not opening up any gaping holes. The passing game isn't setting up the run. You don't respect Case Keenum. You don't respect Jared Goff, and you don't respect any of the Rams receivers. So you can pack everything in. You can come and play 8 defenders in a box. Why not? Who's going to stop you from doing that? Tavon Austin is their biggest threat on the offensive side of the football. And because of that, he's the one guy you worry about. Other than that, you don't worry about anything that they have to offer on that offense. And so Todd Gurley is suffering because of that. Larry G's the best says, should the 49ers keep Kaepernick and draft a wide receiver? That's what I would do. But then again, I don't know how they feel about Colin Kaepernick. I think he gives them the best shot to win of any quarterback on their roster. You're not going to find a guy in college that's going to help you unless you like one of those college quarterbacks. I mean, if they absolutely love Deshaun Watson and think he's the future, and they're going to have a chance to draft him because all indications point to the Browns taking the defensive end out of Texas A&M, then Deshaun Watson and any other quarterback that you may like will be there for you with the second overall pick, which is what the 49ers will have by virtue of their record when the season's done. So if they love Deshaun Watson or Deshaun Kaiser and they fall in love with one of these guys throughout the process and they realize that we're going to take this guy at number 2 overall, then you can move on from Colin Kaepernick. You can go back to Blaine Gabbert if you like and have him be the stopgap and not pay Kaepernick the money that he will be due this upcoming season. And maybe that is the plan in San Francisco. If that's not the plan and you don't love any of these quarterbacks, then I'd say you hold on to Colin Kaepernick. You draft a receiver with that first-round pick. If you don't love a receiver that high in the draft, I get it. Trade back. If you can't, you take something else that'll help you. And maybe that's an offensive tackle, offensive lineman, and maybe you take a receiver in the second round. Whatever the case may be, if you're the 49ers, that's going to be the biggest decision you make from a roster perspective in this offseason is whether to keep Colin Kaepernick and pay him the money that he'll be due next year, or move on and draft a quarterback with the number 2 overall pick. Larry G's the best says, who's the better rookie, Wentz or Goff? That's not even a question worth having and entertaining, but just to let you know, it's Wentz. It's not even up for debate. RG3 hashtag smoking at 3 hashtag 1000 says, I think the Rams should keep working on that O-line. Definitely agree. That's one of their biggest issues right now. That offensive line is so bad that there's nowhere to go. And like I said, they don't respect the Rams' ability to throw the football no matter who's at quarterback. Case Keenum or having a rookie in Jared Goff at quarterback doesn't scare the defensive team across the line of scrimmage. They feel like they can come in. If they wanted to, they might could put 9 in the box, depending on what formation the Rams are in, because there's no one out there that scares you. And the quarterback doesn't scare you with his ability to get the football to these receivers accurately. So it's just a tough situation for the Rams. That offensive line definitely needs a facelift. Ed says, what head coach would be good for the LA Rams? I heard rumblings about Michigan head coach Harbaugh. So, no. You're not going to get Jim Harbaugh to come to LA. I think he's really comfortable. Michigan, first of all, is his alma mater. I don't think you're going to get him to come and leave Michigan. That's a really good job for him. That's one of those jobs that if you're content with coaching college kids, you don't have to ever leave. It's a major college football program. It's your alma mater. It's one of those jobs. And with him, he's always been a guy that has a message that grows stale because of his personality. So with NFL players, it's going to wear thin with those guys after 4 or 5 years, which it did in San Francisco. He wore thin on the personnel there, front office-wise, with some of the guys in the locker room. It is what it is. In college, it's turnover every 4 years, every 3 years with some of these guys. It's turnover. It's constant change, which is what you need when you're a guy that his message can grow stale after a certain amount of time and you can wear on players. So I think college is probably where he needs to be now. I can't tell you what that man has inside of him. He might be an NFL guy at heart, okay? His brother's in the NFL. He played in the NFL, did Harbaugh. He coached in the NFL. Maybe his true passion is in the NFL. I can't know that. I don't know what's inside his head, but I don't think he's leaving Michigan. And the Rams' job right now isn't that attractive for a number of reasons. You either love Jared Goff or you've got questions about him, but you can't love him off of what you've seen. So I think there's got to be question marks there. But the front office in LA hasn't been all that great either. So the move to LA, all of the things that's surrounding his team, in order for them, I think they're going to have to end up getting a young coach, a guy that's just hungry for an opportunity to be a head coach. You're not getting one of these veterans. You're not going to get a John Gruden to come out of the box, or one of these other guys, a Tom Coughlin, who's going to want a lot of control and power and things of that nature. I think you're probably going to have to go out and get one of these young, hungry assistants, and have them come in and hope that they can light a fire under this Rams football team and do wonders with Jared Goff in the process. Moving on. RG3 hashtag smoking at 3 hashtag 1000 says Goff had like 2 targets with the Rams, should get a receiver and O.J. Howard. Easy to say what they should do. You're not getting both of those things in the first round. Obviously, if they want O.J. Howard, they'd have to spend the first round pick to get him. But again, they got tight ends. That's not the problem. They don't have receivers. So if they're going to, and again, they're too high in the draft, much like the 49ers, both of these teams need receivers. You're too high in the draft to spend it. Like, there's not an alpha male receiver in college football that's coming out, maybe outside of Mike Williams out of Clemson, that is a guy that you would spend a top 5 pick on. And I don't even think Mike Williams is worth the top 5 pick, to be honest with you. So I just don't know if that's a great spot to be in and need a receiver. We'll see what happens with those 2 teams and what they decide to draft. It's hard to talk draft right now because I don't know all the players involved, and I haven't watched tape on them, so I can't really assess what they should or shouldn't do right now. And that would be unfair to the teams and the players all involved. K. Michael says, what's up, Louie? Has the college game style made the quarterback's more difficult to scout. Yeah, I've talked about that ad nauseum, especially last year with both Wentz and Goff coming in, and how hard it is to really take what you see. And we had that same discussion with Mariota coming out of Oregon. It makes it so much tougher to really decipher what these guys know, what they can do. Some of these guys don't even have a playbook. Johnny Manziel never had a playbook in college at Texas A&M. They're holding up cards on the sidelines. Coaches are doing all kinds of crazy hand signals, and assistants are holding up cards. These guys don't have playbook. They don't have terminology. I mean, even that stuff is hard for them to adjust to. Just barking out a play that's like 30 words long. I mean, seriously, it's a big adjustment for these guys. That's why Jameis Winston was a breath of fresh air when he came out. And that's why the Buccaneers were like, hey, I know you said that this guy was immature and this, that, and the third, but this guy is an NFL-ready quarterback, played in a pro-style offense, actually had a playbook. We got to take this kid. We can't afford to let him pass by because there are not many of these guys coming out anymore. These pro-style quarterbacks that can read defenses, that have to actually make reads and go through progressions and can actually spit out verbiage in an offense because they had an actual playbook in college. So it's definitely a different game, college football is. And that's not going to change. So NFL scouts have to make that adjustment, and they have been, but it's still tough nonetheless. Bossaholic says, Lou, my souffle is not rising. How do I fix it? You quiet down the noise, okay? Got to make sure that the temperature is right, and you got to make sure it's a quiet environment. If it's too loud, it's going to fall flat. Got to make sure it's quiet. Got to make sure the temp is right. Room temperature is what you're looking for. You don't want it to be too hot. You don't want it to be too cold, or else you won't get the results you're looking for. RG3 hashtag smoking at 3. Hashtag 1000. You guys are silly, I swear. I see Kaepernick going to the Bears if they don't sign him back. Why would he go there? Why would they want him there? I don't know if that's a great fit for him either. And again, they don't run the same type of offense that they're running currently in San Francisco. I don't think that's a great fit for him. And they don't need a quarterback coming off the heels of Jay Cutler. They don't need another guy that's going to cost them a ton of money that they don't know if they can rely on or not. So we'll see. You know, it's hard to say what will happen this offseason. He could be back in San Francisco. He may not be. We'll see. Bossaholic says, I already read that. Slip Ammo, my man Slip, what's going on, Slip, says, you're disrespecting my guy Kenny Britt. Austin is good, yeah, but Britt is the guy for LA right now. He's had a great season, but he doesn't scare anybody. That's the thing. Like, just to give you a little example and an illustration of why Kenny Britt is so meh, he had one catch in this game. One catch. And he fumbled that one catch. Like, you get good Kenny, he can go out and light you up for 6 catches, 111 yards, and a touch. You're like, man, and Kenny's been balling this year. I think he's been the lone bright spot at receiver for them this season. But make no mistake about it. Tavon Austin, he scored a touchdown in this game. He's the one guy that defenses say, hey, look, we need to know where Tavon Austin is, where number 11 is at all times. If he's on the field, if he's in the backfield, if he's in the slot, if he's out wide, we need to know where he is at all times. They don't do that with Kenny Britt. You think if you're any team around the league, you feel like you can take your first or your second corner, put him on Kenny Britt, and you'll be just fine doing that. Now, is that true? Probably not, especially if your second corner isn't any good. But that's the mindset you go into the game. You don't have to have a star corner shadow Kenny Britt all game long. No one's doing that with the Rams. For what? No need to change your looks or swap sides of the field for Kenny Britt. You just put anybody on him. And that's the problem with both of these teams, 49ers and the Rams. They don't have a guy that makes you have to game plan to stop other than Tavon Austin. Like I said, it's not necessarily game planning to stop Austin. It's just making sure you're aware of where he is on the field at all times because he's so dynamic. Just like on this play, in this game, they hand him the football out of the slot. They run a quick jet sweep with him. Hand him the football, he gets to the outside and runs for a 30-yard touchdown. The biggest run of the season for the Rams. Tells you all you need to know about their season thus far. A Bossaholic says, LOL, you had a straight face too. Yeah, I did, and I had to keep it straight until I was done, man. I could be an actor. I keep telling y'all this, man. I could be an actor if I wanted to. RG3 hashtag smoking at 3 hashtag 1000 says, Look at what Kenny did to Pat Pete this season. Look, Kenny Britt is a solid receiver. Okay, I've said this already. I think he's a great number 2. He's not a number 1 in this league. They need a number 1 receiver. And if they can get that, all the rest of those guys will fall into place. Then Tavon can be your 3rd receiver. Then you have all these other young guys that you have, like a Mike Thomas, that could come in and possibly help you as a 4th or a 5th option at receiver. Then your tight ends can all fall into place. Kendricks and Higbee and all of those guys that you have. All of a sudden now, you've got a solid group of skill players, but you need that one guy to put everybody in their proper slots. As far as the offensive line is concerned, they need work there as well. But in any event, it's going to do it for this breakdown. Rams find a way to blow a 21-7 lead with 6 minutes left as they lose to the San Francisco 49ers 22-21. 49ers, what an improbable come-from-behind victory. What a win, and what guts and intestinal fortitude and just sheer will and determination it took. Because, again, I've seen teams quit at the end of seasons, and this was an easy scenario in which you quit. Christmas Eve, 13 straight losses. You're on the road. You're down 14, 6 minutes left. I've seen teams pack it in and call for the U-Haul truck at this point of the season. They didn't do that. They came back, scored 15 unanswered with 6 minutes left, win the football game, and get an early Christmas gift. 22-21 do the San Francisco 49ers. They're 2-13 now. Rams leave this game at 4-11. Both wins for the 49ers coming against this Rams football team this season. Says a lot about the Rams and how bad they've been thus far this season. So it's going to do it for lockdown coverage. Rams, 49ers. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the Lab Room on the Louie Tee Network. Remember, we're changing the game one live feed at a time. I will see you guys later on for Monday Night Football overtime. Until then, have a great one. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.